Hi, hello, how are you? Thanks for stopping by. Today we're just going to have a couple of handsome fellas waxing intellectual about what's going on the weekend. This is the Working Perspectives Podcast, Weekend Poppin'. I'm Matt Lavelle, accompanied by my good pal, Stuuuubennzzz, Steve Cabot. Steve, how we doing, buddy?
He's a little depressed. He's missing Party in Your Pants, Pete.
Everybody's missing Pants Party Pete, but hey, when you're Pants Party Pete, sometimes you got to party and sometimes it's in your pants, and that's what he has to do today. You know, God bless him.
And I respect it.
Of course, we all do. So this is the Working Perspectives Podcast, Weekend Poppin'. You can find us on all podcast platforms and YouTube at Working Perspectives Podcast. You can find us on Spotify at The Working Perspectives Podcast, and you can follow us on Instagram at Working Perspectives Podcast, and join us for some fun on the Twitter and the TikTok at Working P Pod. If you want to be a guest on the show, feel free to email us at workingperspectives@gmail.com. Other than that, let's get this thing started. Let's go. All right, Stuuuubennzzz, let's chat, baby. So,
what's up, bro?
So last week this Tuesday we aired the Rick Outland interview. So here's the thing, though. I went long again, right? Like we went back to long. We did the Thick Boy Size podcast. It's a Thick Boy Summer. So this gimmick was, you saw, it was like just under 3 hours. It was, but dude, I'll tell you what, like when listening to it, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I really feel like the content it supported the time, you know, like it wasn't like it was lagging, right? Like you weren't like, oh my God, this is dragging. Like it was content filled for 3 hours. I mean, hearing the DuckTales theme song again, babe, that got
brings you back.
Yeah.
Brings you back.
Plus too, he had like his story is really good. He's a fellow wrestler too, which is nice. And then, you know, like it was good. Also, Pete was on fucking fire that episode. He was just red hot with the dingers. Red hot.
Pete was ready
to go. And then so then that was last week, and you can still find it. It's still available on all podcast platforms and YouTube at Working Perspectives Podcast. And then this week coming up, we have another buddy of mine from the gym. His name's Don Lyons, and you can find him at Money Talks with Don Lyons online. He's a stockbroker, investment banker. Like he knows the trades on all this stuff. We get into like Bitcoin and things like that on his episode. His was like so fascinating, the stuff he talked about, because he's like, okay, so you see like the millionaires out there, right? Say if you're a millionaire and you just want to go buy a Bentley, it's like a $400,000 car, right? Or more. I don't know how much Bentleys are, but
depending which model,
right?
Depending which model, they get up there.
Yeah, so you want to go buy that. For that to happen, or you want to buy that and you want to buy a couple like, canary yellow diamonds that are millions of dollars in one day, right? To do that, you have to have someone verify your banking information, right? So that's what he would do. Like he works, like he's a personal banker for like millionaires, right? And he still does that. And he works for a firm and he's been doing it for years. He grew up in North Philly, right? Went through that whole gimmick. He used to work at, like, you'll hear like all the jobs he had and stuff like that. But his story of his climb is phenomenal. And he's a guy that found boxing late in life, right? But he brings his kids to the gym. He comes, like, it's really transformed him as a human, and it's great to see. And his story, really, really awesome stuff. Can't wait for everybody to hear it,
Yep.
So, all right. So let's keep it moving. So Stuuuubs, I'm looking at you now. And our people now that we're doing the videos of the Weekend Poppin' available on YouTube, you got a little mouse there above that left eye there, babe. What do you got? What happened? Talk to me.
Well, it's one of my ex-wrestlers, guy I liked a lot, had a good kid. He decided now that he's been doing Muay Thai for a while. So he's been in tournaments. He's been to Thailand, which is stories from Thailand are hilarious. He was killing me last night. Oh, hilarious.
Yeah.
And so he's now dipping his toes in the mixed martial arts world. So he goes down to real professional fighters to get training in jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai. And somehow he comes to me for the wrestling aspect, which is odd, but whatever.
It's fine.
So he decided last night he has 2 fights coming up, one in CFFC.
Oh, and, all right.
Yeah.
All right. So CFFC.
Yep. So he's moving up in the world. He's now, going to get his first pro fight and stuff.
Nice.
He's got a bunch of pro Muay Thai fights, but not MMA fights.
Yeah.
He's got a couple amateur MMA fights, but now he wants to do that. He's got one coming up. Asked me if I would help train him. He's once you wrestled for me, you're one of my guys. So of course I was like, yeah, no problem. Took him up to my buddy's gym. Second I got there, I looked around and I said, what the fuck am I doing? I'm too old for this nonsense. And then I remember him as I haven't seen him in years. I remember him as a 17-year-old kid that I could absolutely manhandle in a wrestling room. And then he comes in, he's all shred city. And now he's got all the striking tools. And he's like, hey, do you just want to wrestle? And I'm like, that's cute, but that's not going to help you. We're gonna have to put the gloves on, and we're gonna act like we're sparring, and I'm gonna keep trying to take you down, and you just get used to it because your game is to keep them on your feet.
True.
So my back hurts, my head hurts, my body hurts.
Your front definitely looks a little beat up, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's a long night,
dude.
bro.
I'll tell you what, those kicks, that changes the game, brother. They're to be fair, I still stand by this. Wrestling transcends everything. Wrestling is the number one discipline to have, and I will always say that. And I believe I believe most people that have experienced and done MMA would agree with me, and as you do. But that fucking kickboxing, I'm not gonna lie. Like I pressure and I keep it in close, it helps. But dude, I remember when I fought in the cage, this was at the Starland Ballroom in Jersey. This is like, the crowd was like 2,000, something like that, 2,500, right? It was Jordan. It was billed as Jordan's last amateur fight. I think it was one of Sydney's last amateur fights, but we were all on this card. And I'm fighting this guy, and we're in the cage, and I go like, my back's against the cage, and he's like coming at me, and he came in with a knee. And the knee hit me in the rib, right on the right side, hit me in the right side on the ribs. And dude, I was like, oh my fucking God. Like, it hurt so, I almost went down. It hurt so fucking bad. I'm like there against the rope, and I try to throw the 2, and I'm like, oh, that's not happening. Right. And then I was just like, fuck. And I just
back to the odd numbers.
I just threw my jab, and I was like, get the fuck away from me. I was like, fuck this guy. Right. So eventually I didn't go down, and I would make it through it. But dude, it was brutal. Those knees, like that shit. Plus 2, if you're not used to it, and you saw it with, was it this weekend with the dude that got kicked in the knee, couldn't walk, Smith versus Crute or whatever, right?
Yep.
And then obviously Weidman. Holy shit, fucking Weidman. It's crazy the fact that he did that to Silva, ending.
It's only happened 3 times ever in the UFC, and 2 of them happened to be
with the Weidman
in the same. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. But it was really, really cool. So
yeah, I always noticed, the first thing I noticed when I went to when I started with the MMA and going to Henzo's, you go in there, and wrestlers, like, there's breeds. Wrestlers a specific human, a specific breed, right?
Agreed.
So there's the wrestlers. Then there was the jiu-jitsu guys, which are another breed, right? More calm, relaxed, they're easygoing. Most of them. Now you get to some of these Brazilians, they want to rip your head off, but for the most part, they're easygoing, very happy, relaxed guys.
Yeah. And
which I enjoyed all of them. The boxers, they were cool guys, they like their sport. They're just like kind of like wrestlers, no problem. Then there was the Muay Thai guys. And they're the craziest motherfuckers I've ever met. I stayed away. They would like break each other's nose and then like high five each other because they broke their nose. I'm like, cuz if you broke my nose, I'd be fucking pissed.
Yeah.
They're like, nah, man, hell yeah. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? They're psychopaths. Dude, they're not like plus 2. I will say this. Like, when you're getting checked on the legs, like, dude, if you haven't felt, there's no easy way to take it. There's no people like, oh man, why did you check the kick? I'm like, I don't care if you're checking it or not, because you clearly have never been kicked. That shit fucking, and it hurts when you kick the person. That's what people don't realize. It hurts my leg when I kick you.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, you guys are fucking nuts. No matter whether I'm taking it or giving it, it fucking hurts.
Those guys, dude, the way they train their shins, right? Like, their shit, brutal. Like, you like, dude, like, you see these guys like kick and treat, like, imagine, and this is legit, imagine someone, they swing that shit faster than you swing a baseball bat, and it's just as hard, like,
and it weighs a lot more.
Yeah, and there's a lot more force behind it, and you don't see them coming when they'll like go low and then come up top. Like some of these
the guys that can change the angle where you think it's a low kick, so you drop your hand. It's impossible to like counter. It's impossible.
Yeah, and you leave and like to catch, and it's one of those things where it's like you can kind of catch boxing stuff and still stay covered in different areas, but to catch the kicks, you have to leave yourself exposed in another area, and it's well, you fucking pay for it. So yeah,
like we said, it hurts even when you kick people. And for example, Chris Weidman.
Oh my!
Remember,
God.
he didn't get kicked; he kicked him.
Oh, dude, and like, let's to be honest too. Like, it's not like Weidman hadn't trained his shins. Like, obviously he has.
He's a world champion, former world champion,
and someone broke their leg on his shin before, right? Like
another world champion.
Yeah. So this guy is not like his calves aren't made out of cinder blocks. It's just bam. All it takes is one. Like.
That kid, the kid was telling me when he was in Thailand, he was saying how even the 12-year-old kids, which a lot of the things when he's over there for the Muay Thai, my guy that I was working out with last night, he was saying that not only does half these kids have like deformities in their face as kids because there's no refrigeration, so there's no ice. So when you get like a hemato, they just ride it out and whatever happens. So there's disfigurement and the other, of course, the training of the shins. And he was like, literally, it's almost like the science behind it. It's almost like the same thing as cauliflower ear, but on your fucking shin. You just build up, a calcified layer in front of it. And then he said the other thing is too, how they, life is different over there. The way they respond to death and things like that, right?
Yeah.
So it's a lot more prevalent. So he was like, literally, you'll see some of these 12-year-old kids get literally knocked the fuck out and they just roll them out the ring onto the floor and in comes the next guys.
Yeah.
And he goes, and I was talking to one 12-year-old. I was like, yeah, so how many fights you think you have at this point? He was like, 300. He was like, holy fuck. He's like, this kid's 12.
Yeah.
He's been in 200. And it's not like they're wearing headgear or shin pads or
There's all sharing gloves too, so they're ringworm city. I bet
they all have ringworm. Yeah, it's 190 degrees.
Yeah, how tall is the dude that you
same
train?
size as me?
So he's like
5'10".
So okay,
5'10".
So he must have been like fucking. Was he like Shaquille O'Neal over there or what?
Oh yeah. He said they could sense him from a mile away. He said every time he walked out in like the streets, whether it was women, guys, children, people were just grabbing him, trying to, hey, buy this, American, buy this, buy it. He's like, Jesus Christ. He goes, I felt like the Beatles. Everywhere I went, there was like a crowd running behind me.
I remember this too. Like, imagine this. So Thailand's huge in kickboxing, but you know what other country's enormous is? It's the Netherlands. Yeah, like the Netherlands.
Dutch
so
kickboxing.
Like,
so he was talking about how the difficulties, there's a slim difference between the two, but the one is the Dutch kickboxers use their range so much better.
Dude,
they love their length.
Kickboxing a Viking, right? Mm-hmm. Like they're
huge, tall men. They're huge, tall men, and they use their. He was talking about how with Muay Thai, those guys like to get in a little closer because they drop elbows and knees, and they hurt way more than kicks, right?
Yeah.
So they kind of get in there with that. He goes, the Dutch guys, that's not their game. Their game is to keep you at bay, just outside of their range or your range, but they can range you. Mm-hmm. So he's like, when the guy's taller, and I get one of these Dutch kickboxers that I start to spar with down in like Rami's, he's like, I can't even get inside. He goes, I literally just have to tuck my chin down and just start throwing straight punches down the pipe and keep moving because I know I'm getting kicked.
Yeah. And it's a nightmare. An absolute,
yeah, it's strange how that little country that's really not known for anything besides prostitution and weed,
right,
produces some of the greatest stand-up fighters the world has ever seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy.
True. I mean, it is true, but one thing that I will say that if you can work it, that is effective against the kickboxing guys, is that their stance is because of the kicking. It's squared up, right? So like if you look at a boxer, they'll have one shoulder pointing towards you, but if you look at the kickboxers, both shoulders are pointing towards you because their front foot, their toe is pointed forward, and their stance is square, right? So
because their main weapon, as yours is a jab, they're going to teat kick you. Which is the worst.
Correct.
I can't stand. Every time I got teat kicked, I wanted to immediately just fight the person. And then I realized that he's going to beat the shit out of me anyway. So I had no recourse.
Is there anything worse than like you're trying to walk a guy down and he's letting you walk him down and all of a sudden he just sends a front kick right to your stomach and you're like, oh, you fucking bastard.
There's nothing like it. I couldn't stand, especially being a wrestler. Like my game was pressure.
Yeah.
So I come at you like a moron. I come at you. I got to close the distance. And once I get my hands on you, I feel comfortable.
Right.
This motherfucker's like, oh, that's what you want to do? Take one of these to the solar plex.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude. Oh yeah. And plus too, like those guys are so flexible and like they get like, could you imagine like the people listening right now, if you could stand up and try and kick, like, pick a mark 5 feet in the air and try and see if you can kick that with your foot. It's not happening,
a chance. Not
right?
a chance.
And these guys are able to do it in a split second from any angle, and they're precise with their strike and their hips behind it, and they're waffling you. And not like people think too, like a lot of people, I think they'll see it in movies and stuff. They think you kick and you land with your foot. That's not the case. If you hit and land with your foot, you're breaking.
It's gonna break that fucker.
Yeah, you're an idiot. Right?
Yo,
that's the wrong way to do it. They're landing on their shin. If you feel the shin bone, it's not
nice.
Yeah, it's hard as rock. And theirs is, I mean, try throwing thousands of kicks against like, a specifically hard surface or a bag or whatever. And then like they're cinder blocks, man. They're brutal.
There's levels to that. I remember being in Henzo's and Eric being there, and all of us, and even like Dirty Dan, you see, who's great Muay Thai guy. I see Dan like kicking the bag. I see other people. And then all of a sudden I just hear this noise that sounds way different than everybody else. And I turn around and I see what's a heavy bag weigh, Matt? Like 80 pounds?
No, so the ones that we would train with, the long ones.
Yeah, the long heavies. 120. He would swing that thing almost all the way up with the kid. I could barely make the thing rock. This dude's sending it to I was like, oh, that's a 4-time world champ. Yeah. And I'm a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Like, there'll be times when you'll be just standing there like talking, and then you hear like a boom, right? And you're like, oh fuck, whoa, who threw that?
Just the noise, you can tell right away.
Yeah, you're like,
it's
all
like
right.
for the people to like other people that aren't into fighting to hear like the same sound as a guy who hits a little shitty dinker back to the pitcher. Or when Barry Bonds rips a perfect home run, there's just a different sound.
Agreed. And a couple weeks ago, Josh Lawler, who was the guest on the main interview show, he is one of those guys that he throws a kick and it's boom, right? His stuff's gotten really tight. He trains with Eric too, so yeah, that's probably why. But of course. Okay, so let's and then the kid the kid that was in last night, you had brought up that one of the kids you were training is a Navy SEAL. It's not the Navy SEAL that was in that you were training
that kid with. Okay. That kid is a fucking monster. He's like 6'3", 220 in Shred City.
All right. Yeah. Well, hey,
and this guy's like 5'10", 160. He's now again, this is where I get annoyed because I'm older and it's way harder to stay in shape. Yeah. He takes his shirt off because we were doing a lot of cardio too, and this fucking kid is fucking shredded. I'm like, you little 25-year-old cocksucker.
And I bet he can still fucking eat pizza and wings and beer and still like those lucky fucking Stuuuubennzzz. Like,
he was telling me, which is cool. He had the same experience that every person has. I always say this, whether it's wrestling, whether for me it wasn't really wrestling because I was naturally good at it, but if a man's man, right? A guy, you got to be humbled sometimes because we always laugh. Everybody thinks they can fight, right?
Got to get them manners, bro.
So we were discussing how I was like, yeah, the first time I ever went to Henzo's, I see these older guys rolling around in what looks like pajama karate outfits. And I'm like, I'm going to fuck these dudes up.
Yeah.
And the guy and Rich is like, yeah, we've had wrestlers in here. I'm like, yeah, I know. But like, I was pretty good at wrestling. Like you probably have I have kids that say they're wrestlers. You're not wrestlers.
Yeah.
I go in and I got choked out 432 times in the first 3 months.
Yeah.
And I walked out of that room every day with my tail down and my head down. And Rich noticed. And Rich came up at one point and was like, you know what makes you a tough person in my eyes? Being able to take that and come back and get better.
Yeah.
And it's the truth. You know what I mean? Because he's like, people I see come in here and their ego is like, I can't believe that guy must have did so. I'm out of here. Fuck this place.
Yep.
No.
Yep.
Realize that there's levels to shit.
Yeah.
Take your time and, you got to work through it.
Those are truly the guys that succeed, or the guys that when they do that, like they'll come in, they see the adversity, but they chase they want the adversity. They want the hill to climb. They want to get better. Like those are the ones that you don't mind working with and you succeed. And then like, hey man,
and the guy's not afraid to lose. Can't be afraid to lose.
But that's the other thing too, is like when you go out there, you have to be willing to like, hey,
get embarrassed.
Yeah, dude, there's no shame in going out on your shield. That no shame at all.
Don't listen to those dorks that are like, you got knocked the fuck out.
They can go fucking kill themselves.
I didn't see you have the ball. I tell my wrestlers that all the time, whether you're good, bad, or indifferent. And I tell my guys that all the time. There's a reason why in MMA and wrestling, things like that, after what happens happens on the mat or in the ring or whatever it may be, you're friends with that guy after. There's a bond due to the fact that he did all that ridiculous training and horse shit and weight cuts and all the fucking mental torture that you did. Yeah. And I respect, you got to respect the guy for it. And he had the balls to go out there one-on-one. And so even my shitty wrestlers that go out there and get pinned, I'm like, look, I know you think in your head like you're a pussy and you think it sucks, but I'm giving you all the credit in the world because you know how many people don't have the balls to do what you just did?
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a million people out there. Like the one thing that they do tell you after you lose a fight, and unfortunately I've obviously heard this, but after you lose a fight, they tell you that only 1% of the population will ever do what you do. Right. So like when you go in there, there is no, like, obviously, you know, there's going to be fear and stuff like that, but that's just nerves. But having the courage to do it takes a lot. And that is to be said, like, you need to know, like, there is respect in what you're doing. And also, like, if you're in there, like you're saying, the discipline shows, you know, like if you're in there with another guy who committed to doing this and committed to this as a sport, then it is to be respected. And if they respect, 100%. If they respect the sport, then it's fine. You know what I mean?
Because like you said, or like I was saying too, but there's never, ever another sport. You know, I don't train my hardest in football. My teammates could pick me up. Other sports, you don't train hard in wrestling or fighting or any combat sport. It shows immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately.
For sure. For sure. Stamina makes cowards of us all, brother.
I agree.
I mean, you know, and there's a lot of mental stuff that goes into it. People that haven't done it don't know, but it is what
like I said, and like when you tell people the easiest part is the fight, they're like, that makes no sense. You're like, no. If you only knew what I went through to get to this point. That's why I always get mad when people are like, that guy faked an injury because he didn't want to do that fight. I'm like, you fucking at the UFC level too. I'm like, at that level, these guys are
they were trying to get
professionals.
Paid. Yeah.
And you think he just went through a 12-week camp and then a 5-day insane weight cut to just go, yeah, you know what? I'm scared of him. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
You're so fucking dumb.
Also, too, I'll tell everybody this now. The dream of every fighter out there is to be able to fight and get paid enough that that's your only job.
We were talking about that with my buddy yesterday because he works a full-time job and he's trying to, you know, bust into the pro scene. And he's like, do you think I'm overdoing it? Because he's a laborer. He's out every day. And he's like, do you think I have the job?
At his age, there is no overdoing it.
I said, buddy, you just listen to your body. I'm like, and do you have to jog? I said, I hate jogging more than anything on this planet. Yeah, you got to do it. It's just, if everybody else is.
Yeah. The road work unfortunately, it's a must, but it's just, dude, get your schedule. Like it is, you do have to we would say pledge allegiance to the grind. And that's what you have to do. You have to have like, look, in your mind, you have to know, like, every morning I'm doing this, every day and eventually it just becomes like you don't want to miss it. You want to do it because you see the improvement and things like that.
And then, like, you know, for wrestling and the military guys, they're like the SEALs and stuff. One of their slogans was always "Embrace the suck." Embrace the suck. Guess what? Amen, you know, brother. It sucks, but hey, you're out here doing it. You know, there's a brotherhood to be said about it, and you know, it's a fun place to be.
Honestly,
you're around killers, so it's different.
And like, dude, honestly, is there any other places you would rather be like those guys? Like, you know what I mean? There's a million shit jobs you could have out there. You know, like there's a million miserable jobs you could be sitting at miserable. Like, you know, like, but if you can find something that you like doing and get paid for it, that's the dream, brother. So, all right, so let's keep it moving. So like we were saying, Steve, he had some training last night. You'll see it when we do. We're going to put another full episode video out on the YouTube for everyone to see. And then we wanted to talk about last weekend there. We alluded them a little bit previously, but I want to talk about the fight. So we'll kind of start. So I think Sabatini, right? The Philly guy, he won, right?
And in dominant fashion. My man, nice. Talk about an incredible ground game. He just absolutely put on a clinic on this guy.
Nice.
Legs in, back control, all three periods. Actually, in the third, the guy did a good adjustment. It was much harder for Pat to take him down. But the first two periods, he blew the doors off this man.
Awesome.
He looked great. Looked fantastic.
And that was on the undercard?
That was a prelim, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice. Good. Awesome. Glad to hear. Good to see a local Philly guy. For everyone listening out there, you want to support the local Philly guy. Was it Pat Sabatini?
Yep.
Nice. Awesome.
Yep. At a Daniel Gracie's gym in, I guess, like Evolution or whatever else. But he's down there.
I think
with those
that's
guys,
their partner that they do the striking.
Yes, they do. Yeah, Evolution does the striking. John at Evolution does the striking, and then Daniel does the rest of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, so then let's keep moving up. So we talked a little bit about Weidman. So I'll tell you this, man, and it is. I mean, when he beat Silva before Rockhold got him, Weidman was like the deadliest dude out there. He had great wrestling. He's tough as a freaking coffin nail. Like he was just so badass. Rockhold was just too athletic for him, like too much of an athlete. Couldn't
Rockhold annoys me more than any human on earth because he's the toughest guy you'll ever meet, and he's the best looking motherfucker in the room too. Like how do you get both of those? He's a Calvin Klein model and shit. Like how is that you get punched in the face for a living? How can you still have a face nice enough to be a mod? You fucking lucky motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean,
good for him. Good for him. Look at me hating.
Some of us are just blessed. What can I say?
I know, and it's sure as fucking me.
Same.
Jesus Christ.
Same. So okay, so like we said, Weidman, the kick heard around the world again with him apparently. But
did you see the X-ray he put out?
Oh no, was it bad?
So what happened was it broke his tibia and his fibia clean in half.
Oh.
And if you actually watch the tape, he doesn't know it at first because all the adrenaline. And when he goes to bring his leg back from the kick and step on it, when he did that, the tibia jabbed out of his cast, the bone. So it went compound on him. So he was showing this stuff on like his Instagram. I almost threw the fuck up. I was like, that's enough for me. I'm out.
Dude, I don't know, man. That stuff, like, to me, I don't know. I feel like I can see some stuff, but like, I remember like when like my kid was being born, like I couldn't watch that, you know, and like I'm, you know, like that kind of stuff.
It just you see shit like that and it reaffirms in your mind that women are aliens. Because I don't know how you could do that and not just kill yourself, the pain. And then they also bleed for days and don't die. There's nothing else on earth that does that. You know, I'm just saying.
Yeah. What about too, like, I always thought like those, like the surgical, like doctors and nurses, like the people being able to cut people open and like dig in there and mess around and then put it all back. Like those kind of people, that's a special breed too. And old Uncle Matty ain't in that game.
Nah, that ain't my breed. That ain't me.
Yeah,
ain't me. One of my closest friends growing up, his older brother is the head PIC unit nurse at CHOP Hospital. So he gets the lucky job of probably seeing babies die on the regular and having to explain to the parents that they lost a child. And I was like, dog, I don't even know how the fuck you could do that day in and day out. And not like, I would come home after a week and kill myself. I wouldn't be able to like live with seeing that. You know what I mean?
Bro.
I was like, you're the one, fuck a baseball player, fuck a football player. You should get $10 million a year.
Yeah.
Because there's not many people on the planet that are willing to go in there and do that, you know?
Dude, how much would it, like, legit, how much would it cost for your job to be you have to perform surgery on children?
There's no price.
Like, I don't think I could do it. I couldn't even dream of it.
Listen, I've never been rich, but I've been poor. I'll stay poor before that.
Agreed. That's too much. Those people, I mean, I'd love to see their psych evaluations because they got to have a fucking screw loose, you know? Like, Jesus Christ. Don't get me wrong. Like, a pediatrician is one thing, but like,
surgeries and, you know, emergency shit. Oh,
yeah, not happening. No way. So,
well, to preface one of your upcoming guests, he was in the field special operations unit medic. So he's seen and done some wild shit to guys out in the middle of nowhere.
Sean?
Yep.
Oh my God.
He was also a sniper, but his main job was a medic. So he's seen some wild shit.
So he's legit played God on a battlefield. That's unreal.
on the most intense battlefield with the most trained humans on the planet. Yeah. Yep.
Jesus Christ. Dude, you got to be sewn up tight for that shit, brother.
He always said it gave him like real anxiety because he like every SEAL guy you ever talk to, they always tell you that their teammates were the best guys. Like they suck. Yeah. They always say that. I suck. Everybody around me was so good.
Yeah.
Well, you were with them, so you were just as good anyway. But
yeah.
He's always like, man, I was always so worried because like the guys around me were the best I've ever seen in my life. Like these are the best of the best, and like if it's up to me to make sure they're okay.
Yeah.
Like if they get back to their, he's like, I know the wife, the kids. Obviously, they're such a close knit small community.
Yeah.
He's like, you know, when we're home, we're all together anyway. So he's like, you know, how do I go back and they look at me because they know I'm the one if something happens, I better save that motherfucker.
Oh. God,
Yeah, crazy.
dude,
Crazy.
that's nuts, man. That amount of pressure too. Like you have to think like the wives and the children of those people. My God. So
Crazy.
we were talking about the Chris Weidman fight. So let's keep it moving. So now we'll talk about Usman Masvidal too.
First off, before you jump to that, two quick things. One, Shevchenko would beat the living fuck out of Jake Paul. That's the baddest bitch on the planet. I'm sorry. She is out of control, man. Nunes is the GOAT, but GOAT 0.5 is Shevchenko, who's gone 5 rounds with her twice. In the first fight, I mean, he could have went either way, and Shevchenko's smaller.
Yeah.
Nunes is bigger. And Shevchenko is the real deal. Beat the fucking shit out of that poor girl. Jessica Andrade had nothing for her.
That's
straight crucifix, and then punched her face until she felt like it was enough. Oh my God, what a way to go out. Ugh.
Dude, that's also tough to watch. Like,
I don't like watching cute girls fight.
I don't
ugly broads, I'm okay with it. But cute ones, I'm like, I don't really like this.
Like Nunes, I could see all day.
Yeah, Shevchenko kind of cute. Her and her sister's even better. Her little sister's a dime.
Or like a Paige Van Zant too. You know what I mean?
She's doing bare knuckle. I'm like, Paige, what is wrong with you?
She's, I mean.
Well, I can't say that. Her husband's a giant and in Bellator and would probably fucking kill most people. So she's like, what do I care?
Yeah, but yeah. So, but
and then the other one was my one wrong. I got everything else right this weekend except for I thought that Zhang Weili was going to trash Rose. And Rose kicked her with the front kick like we were talking about before, the front kick from hell. And then I lost respect for the girl because she got clearly knocked out and then got up and protested it like she didn't get knocked out. People were like tapping her on the shoulder going, look at the big screen. You see you getting knocked out? And she was like, no, I was fine. They were like,
oh my God.
No, the camera shows you were out. Stop acting like a baby. Just take your fucking licks and it is what it is. It is what it is. You can't, I hate when people do that. Hey, man, it is what it is, bro. What are you going to do? That's what I say. Yeah. So Rose, shout out to Rose. What a great win for a girl who is one of those, like I always said, you never judge a book by its cover. And in combat sports, the last thing you ever would do in your life is underestimate your opponent because that's when you get your ass beat. True that. Rose looks like the softest human I have ever seen, but yet she is a world champion and one of the baddest broads on the planet. It's crazy. Yeah. Nice. So, all right. So, okay. Nice. Then we on to Masvidal. So you did. So if people remember last week on the Pop-In, it's exactly what Stuuuubennzzz said. Usman just controls it. He's just on a different level. Masvidal, like I said, it's my second favorite fighter of all time. And he's a great fighter. And he's a great fighter. Unbelievable legend in the sport with his backyard brawls with Kimbo. Where he came from. One of the hardest, realest guys you'll ever meet. I mean, he said, I don't know. I walked up to him and I said, say that shit to my face. And Leon Edwards, he put his hands up. And when he tried to make that stance where I come from, that means you want to hit me. And I ain't going to let that happen. So I hit him with a 3-piece and a soda. Pop, 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 pop. Oh, he's the best. He is the best. The Askren fight, they were like, those punches at the end when he was knocked out, were they necessary? They were super necessary. You were like, what the fuck? The guy's the man. Dude, I'll tell you what, though, that's one thing that from watching what you're saying about it being necessary, it is. It's 100%. No, you can't just like wrestling. Don't stop until the whistle blows or something. How many times you've seen a guy think that something happened and they let up and then they get knocked the fuck out? A million. Keep going until that ref pulls you off. Keep going until that ref pulls you off. That's his job. Yeah, and dude, it's not your fault if the ref goes in late. So don't fucking, they need to do their job. Yeah, but Herb Dean, Big John McCarthy. I mean, those guys knew what they were doing. But, yeah, they're the best. Yeah, those two are the best. All right, so what do we have? Is there any fights or anything coming up this weekend? Well, for those who didn't see it, second round knockout. Usman knocked out Masvidal. Great punch. I mean, did you hear Masvidal's explanation of what happened? No. What? So he obviously Usman's a world class wrestler. Probably his stand up isn't quite as polished. Obviously, has more power, but not as polished as Masvidal. He said that the way he set it up. He goes, I give all the credit in the world to him. Great technique by Usman. He made it look like he was going in for the takedown. So I lowered my hands to block him from the takedown because he's a beast, and he came overhand right, and it landed clean. Yep, that's how it goes. Yeah, night. That's how it goes. First time Masvidal's ever been knocked out in his career.
I mean, damn. I mean, that
Guy's
just shows
37 years old.
Just shows the level Usman's on. But okay, so then what do we have this weekend, Steve? Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, the one that happened last night. Our boy Eddie Alvarez back in the ring over in Singapore again.
Oh,
Philly's finest, the myth, the man,
that.
the legend. Eddie fought last night, and he lost to the number 5 ranked dude. I don't know what his fucking name was. I mean, I just don't like watching him fight anymore because he was such a legend that, like, you don't. He's one of them that's, hey, do your thing, bud. You love it. You're still competitive, so do your thing. But in my opinion, this is where someone needs to pull him back because he's got 4 kids and stuff.
He can talk too. Get him on the mic. The dude can talk.
And he's a smart kid, man. He a smart kid. He's as old as I am. He's a smart guy where he put it. He didn't buy. He has a huge house. His kid is about to start wrestling. His oldest son's going to wrestle at Council Rock South.
Oh, nice.
But he has this huge mansion in Bucks County.
Yeah.
He's smart with his money. He didn't buy any flashy cars. He invested it into all types of shit. So he makes more money outside of the ring by far. He's a great like he's set up for life. He did it the right. What are you doing then? You're not fighting for money. You're literally fighting because he's a psychopath.
Yeah.
That's why we love him.
I'll tell you what though, one of the things that made me fall in love with him when he was fighting McGregor and they were at the press conferences and he said to McGregor, he's like, yeah, well, you're having 2 kids, but your wife ain't having twins. So what's up with that, right? Because McGregor had got
legit question. Yeah. How's that happen, bud? Explain that.
Yeah, how's that happen, huh? What's up with that? I was like, oh shit. When he's calling him out saying that he knocked up his side piece, right? Like, come on, forget about it. So,
and he also, I just saw too today that he sold his proper whiskey. So he still has a small stake in it. Guess how much he got out of that?
How much?
$600 million.
Proper 12, I believe it's called, right?
Yes.
I've never had it, but dude,
I have. I mean, I judge you if you tell me that liquor tastes good because you're a fucking alcoholic. I mean, if I have to take a shot, I drink whiskey.
Yeah.
I've never had a straight alcohol that I enjoyed.
I can't drink whiskey anymore because I got the curse. Turns the blood to vinegar.
Yes.
I just get angry.
I'm like that with all hard alcohol. So I'm
a bitter guy. Yeah.
Yes. Agreed.
That's
which is not good because that makes my gut bigger. What the fuck?
Yeah. You can't win it all, man.
Yeah, it's a thick boy summer. Fuck it.
How about it, man? How about it?
What are you gonna do?
I'm a King of Beers Light guy myself. So there you go.
Oh yeah, the Bud Light.
Little That's King Light action. So all right. Yeah. So nice. So then, is there anything coming up this weekend or anything like that?
I have no idea. I got punched in the head a bunch last night, so the CTE is firing on all cylinders.
Yeah. What do you got? Any plans for this weekend or what?
I got to get fitted for my buddy's wedding, which is always fun. And of course, you know how the dudes do it. His wife's ready to kill us all because if we don't have it done by tomorrow, and nobody's done it yet, because we're dudes. So I just got the text, and it was like, if you guys don't get fitted, by Friday, I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna choose violence. We were like, understood.
Yeah. The wives they don't mess around. They're legit worse than like hitmen.
It's their day. It's their day. So
you gotta
stop fucking their shit up.
Yeah. They don't. So. They do not mess around. And the bridezilla gimmick is it's terrifying. If anything, it's real and it's terrifying.
I've been in a lot of weddings. You got to play your role and know what to do.
Do you ever?
I feel more comfortable when another man's trying to blacken my eyes than I do at some of one of my buddies' loved ones, and just that face of disappointment and disgust because you're the asshole that didn't get your hotel booked, and now they got to talk to the hotel and find another room, and it's never fun.
Dude, have you ever had to give a speech at a wedding?
Yeah, my brothers and Brandon Hills.
Oh yeah.
Shout out B. Yeah. So I was best man at Brandon's and best man at my brother's.
Nice. I've had to do it 3 times, and it's.
Oh, look at you! You just a popular motherfucker.
Well, one was assholes, right? And dude,
God damn it, this motherfucker.
So this is what I said at assholes it was like he had co-best men, me and my little brother. And
that's the gayest thing ever, but I hear you.
Yeah, he's a pansy. So either way, I agree. I agree.
For that moment, I agree because my buddy's doing that in this upcoming wedding. There's like 2 fucking maid of honors, 2 best men. I'm like, The fuck is this?
Just fucking pick one.
What the fuck?
Make one the best man, the other one the head groomsman. That's
now I get it. Girls are different. You might have to do that because girls will ride shit out. Like, dudes, get over it. Like, you don't gotta. Like, I understand.
Honestly,
pick two.
Also, too, when you're asking someone to be a best man, you're legit asking them to spend $3,000. Yes, that's what they're gonna do.
I'm setting up your fucking bachelor party.
Yeah,
everything that goes out, I'm taking care of.
Yeah.
When, like, at my brother's wedding, I didn't even have a drink because I was like, I'm the guy that has to make sure. I went up to the planner. I'm like, yo, if something goes wrong, don't go to them. Come to me. Like, I'll take care of it. So I had to be sober the whole fucking night.
Yeah, I was not that way. I
only did that for my brother. I didn't do that for Brandon. So I was very fucked up for Brandon.
So, all right. So here's how it went at Asshole's wedding. So I go up, right? First off, I had sunglasses on and the suit. So I go up and I have the mic and I say, hold this. And I give it to his wife, Nicole, to hold the mic. I take the sunglasses off, put them down. Grab the mic again, and I'm like, say like, oh my God, hey, it's everything was great, and how beautiful did the bride look? And everyone's like, the bride.
You got to do the gimmick in the beginning, same shtick. Praise the woman, then talk shit to the dude.
Well, that's what so then I went into. I was like, and then I started saying, and I was like, I felt terrible standing up there in front of everyone today, and the reason is because Nicole, Tom's wife, looked so beautiful. But no one's staring at her. Everyone's just staring at me. Right. And I was like, because I'm it. And I've been it my whole life. Right. I've always been it since I was a kid playing tag. Someone would come up to me and say, hey, man, you're it. And I look them in the eye and say, they're goddamn right. And then I said, thanks. I've been great. And dropped the mic and left. And that was it.
So did your dad shoot you at the beginning or at the end?
He loved it. He thought it was hilarious because it was. I brought standing ovation. Brought the house.
I'll be honest. Sounds fucking awful.
Yeah. Looking back on it, it could have been better. But
like I told a dope ass story. Like at my brother's, I told the quick story that our dads were different, right?
Yeah.
I grew up in a tiny ass apartment. Me and my brother and my cousin had to share a room. Blah blah. So we're in a room and we had bunk beds, and my brother, I was always on the top. My brother was the bottom. He used to snore like a champ, right? So I would roll my shitty, dirty socks up when he snored, and I would throw him and hit him in his face, right? Oh. It would wake him up. He'd stop snoring. We keep it moving, right?
Yeah.
Well, he, of course, caught on. So he's snoring, wakes up, gets plastered in the face with something, realizes that it's my stinky ass socks. So he slides the slats out of a bunk bed, like the old school ones, puts his feet on it and kicks me in the air, right? So I do a goddamn belly flop from like 8 feet up onto the floor, right? Then we start rumbling. I get up, I try to tackle him. He's beating the shit out of me because he's way bigger and older than me. So he's beating the shit out of me. My dad, who worked his ass off, like, laborer, 12-hour days.
Yeah. He just got done a 14-hour shift. He's just trying to eat dinner and go to sleep.
We have this little ass apartment we grew up in. So he's like, there's nowhere you can't hear anything. I fart anywhere. The whole place smells, right?
Yeah.
So he comes in, he's like, what the fuck? And me and my brother, this is like 1991. So we're in tighty whities, right? My dad goes, who started it? And we're like, he did. We're doing the whole him. My dad goes, okay, come with me. We're like, okay. So he walks us down the steps as we were on the second floor of this apartment thing, takes us down, opens the door. We go outside. It's the winter, mind you, middle of the winter. We're like, holy fuck, it's freezing, right? We're just in our underwear. My dad turns around and goes, when one of you two retards figures out who wants to man up to it, ring the doorbell, shuts the door. So now you got a fucking 8-year-old and a 12-year-old standing in their underwear in the middle of the night in the winter out front of this house. In North Wales, like houses on top of each other. People probably like, what the why is there 2 kids in their underwear?
Yeah,
so
it was the 90s.
And then eventually my dad or my brother, as he always did, talked me into taking the blame. I don't know how.
Right.
Somehow, I fought it the whole way. And then somehow,
I'm like, he was the one snoring. If he was the one snoring, it's his fault. I would agree with you.
I was like, but somehow he was like, no, you have to do this. Like, you're the younger one. Dad won't beat you so bad. Like, you got to take this. And I'm like, okay, all right. And I took it.
You're making some good points. Yeah,
exactly. In retrospect, I'm like, motherfucker. It is what it is. So I told that story, and everyone's dying except for my pops. He's over there like,
Jesus, these fucking Stuuuubennzzz.
What else are you gonna tell him? How I used to smack the shit out of you? I'm like, all right, Dad, I didn't ever said you abused me. I earned every smack I got.
Sure, we all did.
Yes.
Yeah, big time.
Wow.
So nice. All right. So okay. So we're coming to the top of time here. Stuuuubennzzz, anything you want to say to the dozens and dozens of Work and Respect This Podcast fans before we take off?
Never eat yellow snow.
Smart. Great advice. That's fantastic advice.
Wisdom, baby. Wisdom. That's what I've acquired over my years.
Wisdom.
Hell yeah. Nah, I mean?
Yeah, that's pretty good. All right. So this has been another episode of the Working Perspectives Podcast, Weekend Poppin'. I'm Matt Lavelle. He's Stuuuubennzzz, Steve Cabot. You can find us on all podcast platforms and YouTube at Working Perspectives Podcast. Join us on Instagram at Working Perspectives Podcast and follow us on the Twitter or the TikTok at Working P Pod. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, email us at workingperspectives@gmail.com. This has been another episode of the Working Perspectives Podcast, Weekend Poppin'. Have a great weekend. Stick around for the ad read. All right. See ya.